3 o'clock meeting.
Audrey, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Perfect. There you are. Perfect.
All right, well, welcome everybody. Let's call the meeting to order. It's about 3:05 right now. And we have 2 projects on the agenda this month. We had 3, but as I just discussed, well, I guess I can repeat it for the record, but one of the applicants pushed it back another month because he's having some issues with the city. So can we please start, Cola, and can you please post the meeting minutes from last month's May meeting?
I'm not prepared for that.
I didn't see them come through via email. Is there any way we can send them ahead of time to the committee so
Yeah,
we can review?
I typically send them to Corla, and she's been phenomenal about distributing things.
I
haven't
see them,
seen
Joe.
any.
I don't remember seeing them because I do forward them. Let me just do one more search.
No worries.
Edge plans.
And if not, I can absolutely, we can review them next month, but
Yeah, I don't think I got them, Joe. Let's just postpone them for next month
That's
because I don't see them in my email.
I can make a motion to table the approval of the May 2022 meeting minutes to next month.
okay. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, and all in favor of postponing the meeting minutes from the May 2022 meeting?
So, I'm in favor. I got something popped up on my screen.
That's 6-0 on the postponement, I believe. Okay, so that, sorry about that, Corla. So do we have any non-agenda public comments?
Not my usual things, but I don't know if this should be now or under the information items, Joe, because Eric Law, we got an email about Eric Law wanting to join the committee, but he's not registered for this meeting. I don't know if you got his contact info or not, so.
I did get the contact info from you, and you and I had that brief phone conversation where we discussed that we would discuss it in this month's meeting. So obviously he's not a board member, but he wants to be a community member. And I think your comment was you're not sure how many members we can have. So I want to bring that up for a discussion real quickly, please.
Yeah, I welcome anyone that would like to join, but I'm a little disappointed that he's not registered for the meeting today. So
are there, well, I didn't indicate one way or another to him. I said that we would talk about it. So is there, Mark, you may know this from past, from being the past chair, is there a limit on the number of participants? It seems to be pretty popular committee group.
Joe, I think I'm going to answer the question by saying that I recall it was always 2. There was 2 community members that were allowed on each of the subcommittees, and I think it's in our bylaws.
Okay.
I've got the bylaws up now.
I was just looking for them too.
And it was, I think the max was 3.
3.
Yeah, I was on the ad hoc committee of revising the bylaws, and we did go over that extensively.
I think you have to have more board members than community members. I don't think there's a technical limit. So like if you had 6 board members, you could have more community members. If you have 4, you have less, that kind of system.
Okay, so our permanent board members are Corla, Joe, Margaret, Sam, Javier,
Paul and Robert.
Paul, and Robert.
Mhm.
There are 7 board members who wish to participate in project review.
And that's the maximum board members. Brad wanted to be on the committee, but could not because it had filled up before he got reelected. So,
And Mark has been previously, obviously, requested
And
and
we-
appointed as a community member.
Right,
So in theory, we would have room for 2 more.
yes.
So I don't know, is this a voting item or is this simply?
Well, it's not on the agenda as an action item, so we cannot vote on it. We can discuss it and decide what we want. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, Joe, the community members need to provide a resume
You did?
board, not to the subcommittee, but to the board, and then the board approves that subcommittee community member.
Which needs to be recommended by the chair as well, so I think.
So as an item to do for me, would it be to have bring it up as an information item or agendize it for this coming next Thursday's meeting?
I have the rules right here. It says that non-members who are duly appointed by a planning board to serve on a subcommittee may be identified by the city in accordance with ordinance and any future amendments provided, blah, blah, blah. To prevent a subcommittee meeting becoming a meeting of the full board, the number of board members on any subcommittee must be less than a majority of the full board. However, in accordance with the Brown Act, members of the board who are not members of the subcommittee may attend subcommittee as a member of the audience to observe verbally or through. So it says subcommittee shall contain a majority of members who are members of the planning board, but it doesn't state a number on the non-board members in our bylaws.
Okay.
And it just says that the subcommittee members that are non-planning board members, recommendations must be brought forth to the full planning board for formal vote and approval at a notice public meeting. In no case may a committee or subcommittee recommendation be forwarded directly to the city as formal recommendation of the planning board without its formal votes of the full planning board.
So that means we need to agendize it, get it on. the
Yes,
agenda for this-
we've always done that in the past with, like Mark said, a resume or background.
Okay.
Well, Joe has a resume, so I think we can just bring it to the board next week and vote on to the board unless someone has an objection on that's already sitting on the committee here.
And I have no objection. Does anyone? You see-
We probably have to make a motion to agendize it on the next.
No, we don't need to agendize it here. We just send it over to Fred that we want to vote Eric on and that's all.
I think we still have to have a subcommittee vote that we accepted his nomination application
I
for the
don't think so,
record.
because it makes it so difficult to get members on this committee. It gives you no continuity. You know, they lose a month anyway from the elections and over. So I believe we can just send it over. I don't think it has to go another month through here.
Mark, do you concur with that?
Yeah, yeah, Margaret, the way I would say, we typically just bring them to the board. We haven't necessarily voted on them as a subcommittee and then taken that name to the board for community members. It's always been just take anybody that was interested, take their name to the board, and if they want to serve on the subcommittee, they can. And, subcommittee just takes it on unless somebody again had an objection to the guy, but I don't think we have to necessarily take a vote.
He's got a great
That-
resume.
Excuse me, that's how I was brought on to the subcommittee, was the board reviewed my application. I submitted it formally. I actually ran for a board position, didn't get it, but I expressed interest to be in the long range committee. And I was asked then at the meeting if I wanted to participate, and it was voted yes, that I did.
And it all happened at the board
Board
meeting
meeting.
last month. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jackie.
So I'll request that Eric attend the board meeting next week and I'll send an email out to Fred.
Absolutely. I don't have his contact info either, Joe. So if you send that to me, that would be great.
Okay, great. Okay, are there any other non-agenda public comments or informational items, Carla? No?
Really good point, because, from the. Well, what good is it? It's so completely far outside.
I'm not quite sure who's
Somebody has some background noise, so if you know it's you, could you mute yourself until you're ready to speak? Otherwise, I got to start muting people. Thank you. There we go.
Okay. Okay, well, with that, let's move please to the action items. Again, there are two, and they both happen to be from the same firm, which is a first, I think, for me. The first is going to be presented by an applicant whose name is Kat Coleman, and I see her on the screen. It's a project number 696235. It's at 1039 Alexandria, and it's basically a coastal development permit at an existing single-family residence to convert a garage into a 561 square foot ADU and to convert a carport into a 2-car garage. It looks, and Kat, are you unmuted?
I am.
Welcome.
Can you hear me?
It looks to me as though the carport that's called out is an enclosed garage, and that the conversion of the ADU actually removes a parking space, which you indicate on your plans, but it's one of those tiny, very hard to get into single car garage spaces.
Right.
I've looked at the property and it is on a narrow alley, which I would like to discuss with you. But it does appear to have ample maneuvering room just because of the fact that the garage that's going to be, or the carport that's going to be converted into a garage is angled. But
Right.
I'm sure you're well aware that the alley is paved with asphalt from the, I guess, north end down to the edge of your property, and then it's dirt from your property to the remaining, to the outlet on the street to the south. Are you planning to asphalt that alley?
We haven't discussed that. And as far as the reviewing comments, as of now, there hasn't been anything that has been brought up as far as any improvements to the alley. It's not something that we've talked about, no.
Okay. It seems like it would be a good idea. The alley gets dramatically nicer right at the edge of your property, going up to the street to the north. Okay, so with that, Kat, can you please share your screen, or Corla, can you provide Kat with screen sharing privilege
He has
and
complete
talk us briefly through
capability.
your project?
Yeah, go for it.
Right. Let's see.
All yours.
Okay. Here we go. Can we see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. So let's start here. We have it at 1039 Alexandria. If we can go down to the site plan here. We have Alexandria Drive over here. This is the footprint of the existing 2-story residence with roof deck.
And you're not doing anything to that?
No, we aren't touching the existing residence. Scope of work is off of the alley, which is located here. This here, I'll zoom in for you, is the existing footprint of the 1-car garage, which is 227 square feet right here. They are currently not using it. It's basically just storage. And then this is the footprint of the existing carport, which they would like to enclose into a 2-car garage.
And it is a carport, right?
It is. Currently, it's permitted as a carport.
It looks like a garage.
It does have stem walls.
And a garage door.
Yes, it does, but it's open on the sides here and here. I have some photographs if we need to look at that, but essentially.
You might show the group some photographs. I think that would be beneficial.
Sure, and I can share those after.
Before we do that, can I ask, it looks like the carport is close to the property line, and I wondered about, should we consider a setback issue at the outset here before anything else?
It's a great question, Sam, and it's one of the topics we're going to be getting to.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
As it is permitted right now, this is within the building records legally permitted. We are not expanding the footprint of the carport. We are simply going to be enclosing what is considered open. There is a roof above it currently right now. We are not basically changing anything in dimension as far as this carport is concerned.
And the width of the carport, Kat?
It is 18
18.
feet 1.
So it's an existing, currently non-conforming
Yes.
dimensional
Mhm.
carport.
And 25 feet in length.
Okay.
Mhm.
And and I don't mean to interrupt you, but real quickly before we move off of the site plan, is the footprint of the garage conversion for the 1-story portion of your site, just above your cursor, also permitted non-conforming?
Permitted, yes.
Okay.
And this footprint here is an addition into their backyard for the accessory dwelling unit attached to the garage conversion. So this is the footprint, proposed footprint here.
Okay.
That makes sense. So really, that is the scope of work in the area here. The lot itself is pretty level here. It slopes down into their backyard and slopes down towards Alexandria. And you can see that there. See? So these are the existing plans here. This is the carport here.
Mhm.
So you can see there's stem walls here. And this is open on the side here. It's got a garage door to the front here and an overhanging roof. This is the existing garage, not really being used. Are there any questions about the existing plans?
No, just, Kat, you had mentioned the carport was permitted, you mentioned, or,
It is.
okay, the carport.
And you have the permit records for that.
I do. I have the building permit records, deed,
When
etc.
was it built?
Ah, I'd have to look at the building records again.
Did you go through historical review? I'm sure.
Yeah, historical was passed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't look like a historically significant garage.
No. And again, at the end of reviewing the plans, I'd be happy to show you some existing photos of the garage and the carport so you can get a better idea of what we're talking about. I know it's
Right.
kind of straightforward in 2D right now. It's kind of difficult to
Yeah.
envision.
Great.
Okay, so let me scroll down a little faster here. Okay, so here is the proposed conversion from the carport to the garage, essentially enclosing it so that it's more secure. The clients wanted to have more secure parking, essentially. So it stays within that footprint. You can see we are just closing it off to the alley now. From this side here, we have a new access door. Access doors here. And now we have the converted space, which is the old one-car garage is within this footprint right here. And then this is the additional square footage proposed for a bedroom and bathroom. And then this is their backyard, just to orient again. And this is the alley side.
Okay. So the existing house had, in theory, a 2-car garage, but it was really a kind of a undersized 2-car carport.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
they had a 1-car garage, which they never used, but it was permitted as a 1-car garage.
Exactly.
So you're technically losing 1 parking space, albeit a not very usable one, and maintaining 2 parking spaces, and who knows if they'll use them or not. That area is a little bit unique because there actually is, it's a number of blocks away from the beach, so there actually is on-street parking, but there is a bit of a diminution of parking allowed by the ADU ordinance. I'm just stating that that's, as I briefed with when you and I spoke, that's a topic that I'm sure we will discuss. So.
Right, right. So what the owners have thought is they have 2 access doors here. And what they're proposing for their property in the rear yard is they're going to put a little fence here, and they have a proposed private yard within the backyard space for the ADU.
Okay.
So the ADU will have a parking spot within this garage. They'll be sharing it essentially, and or They have one car and the other one has one. So there'll be an access door for the main residence and an access door for the ADU.
Interesting. Does the owner of the house currently use the garage at all?
No,
I
due
didn't think
to
so.
security concerns, they don't feel comfortable. It's mostly just storage right now. And with items that they're really, they want to be able to use it and get cars off of the street.
Carry on.
Okay. So this is essentially the plan. This ADU in total is 561 square feet. The addition portion is 337 additional square feet. This was originally 227. This is about 405. Our total FAR, the existing residence is about 3,028 square feet. And we have an FAR of 0.57. The lot size is 7,133 square feet. So we have a max total FAR of 4,000, let's see, I think it's 4,065. And so with the existing residence and with the proposed conversion ADU and garage, we total out at 3,996 square feet, which is less than the max allowable FAR. And I have those totals on the T11 sheet. I can go back up there.
So you're 0.54 or 55 or something like that?
Yeah, we are below it.
Okay. Yeah, you're below the 0.57.
Right.
Can you please show us the elevations?
Be happy to. So the original house, the main residence, the street frontage design is Cape Cod. It's a light blue with white trim exterior with some shingles and siding. So we wanted to keep within that theme. And so we're looking at the elevations here. This is from where we would say, this is the alley side here. This is where the bedroom is. So they would be having a combination of hardy plank, the lap siding, and the shake shingle, and most likely painting it a similar light blue and white trim to keep in the theme of the overall property. And so this view here, the west elevation, is if you were standing in their backyard and looking towards the ADU. So this is what the view would be from the client's backyard. And back of the garage here. This is from the alley side. So now we have garage. This was the old garage here. And the additional portion for the bedroom and the bathroom.
And this is all single story, right, Kat? Because it says maximum allow ADU height, but what is that height exactly?
This height is 15 feet 9 inches
Okay.
to the top here.
And all one story, everything's one story on this property.
Everything's one story for this project. Now the main residence is actually 2-story with roof deck. We're not doing anything to that, but just for reference.
Can you please address how you're handling the grade changes? It's drawn in plan as if it's flat, as if it's flat, and you show basically some tall stem walls with some doors coming out that look to me like they're going to be up in space.
Yeah, these are existing right here. The garage is already built up on these stem walls here, and we have stem walls that are designed in structural. I don't have the structural sheets obviously in the coastal set, but
Okay.
It is raised on stem wall.
But those double doors coming out of the bedroom?
There's a deck.
Oh, there's a
It's-
proposed deck that's not shown.
Proposed deck. It's not shown for the sake of being able to see that.
Okay.
And then here, this is the elevations of the garage looking from the backyard towards where the 2 exit doors would be, one for the ADU, one for the main residence. And then we have the property line side elevation of the garage here. This is where they store their trash cans and whatnot. So they needed an access door here. And we have the existing stem wall and then the backyard here, if that is making sense.
It does, it does. And so you're
Okay.
showing a combination of both hardy plank, horizontal siding and shake style shingles.
Yes.
Why did you mix those two and where do you transition them? It appears just at the corner board.
At the corner boards.
And what was the rationale for not just doing hardy plank everywhere or doing shingle everywhere? Just, again, that's not,
We have,
but I'm curious.
no, actually, if I go back up here, right here, this is actually a banquette pop out. It's probably difficult to see in elevation, but in plan, this is going to be where they
I
are.
see it. I see
And
it.
so this will be popped out a little bit. So for delineation and for interest, they wanted to have a difference for that as far as the delineation of surfaces.
Okay.
That was the reasoning there.
And what's on the stem wall treatment?
Right now, I might actually be able to show you some photographs. It's stone.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
And so on your new stem walls, there will be stone as well?
That's the clients would like to see if they can get a veneer of some kind to match or at least look similar. Yes. And we have sections here. Going through.
Okay, well, if you could please show us some photographs of the existing house and or
Sure.
garage carport combination, that would be helpful, I think, for the committee.
Okay, sure. Hold on. I'll stop sharing this one and then I will get
Thanks.
my.
Yeah, while we're doing that, can you tell us what the intent of this? Are they planning on renting or is this for family? Not that it matters, but the board will ask.
Yeah, they actually, well, they do have a lot of family. So of course they would like to have extra private space for them, but they are interested in long-term rental situation.
And how about that alley clearance in the back? Joe alluded to that earlier and no asphalt, blah, 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 but from the garage that like there's a turning radius number there. What is that number?
I'd have to look at the plans again if you don't mind. Let me just try and find my photos here for 1 sec. Done.
It's interesting, Corla. I approximated the turn today in my car and it appears to be doable from a practical standpoint. I don't know the precise width of the alley. It appears to be a 20-foot alley. So it appears as though it would be a very real parking situation, unlike some that we've reviewed and denied in the past.
We've had some alley issues lately, so
We've
that's.
definitely had some alley issues, especially, now that ADUs are popping up on alleys all over town.
Yeah, I can imagine. Parking is a premium.
Well, again, I was specifically cognizant of the fact that this property is quite a few blocks off the main drag where it fills up. If this was down at the beach, I'd be more concerned with it, but as I forewarned you, the group will talk about parking.
Right, exactly. Let me see. I'm having trouble locating my files here. Sorry, guys.
Take your time.
And let's see. What? I have them right here and I can't get to them. Let me try this one more time.
Okay. I don't know if Google Maps goes down that alley. I doubt it.
All I could see was the front when I looked at
Yeah.
it.
Hey, Joe, the
Yes, Mark.
Google Maps does go in that alley. The alley's 15 feet wide. It's 7.5 feet to the center line.
Oh, actually, that's right. And she dimensions it to center line on her plan. 7.6 to center line, yeah. Obviously, thank you, Mark, good get.
And so what you would need to be legitimate backup space, you take the 15 feet, which is the full alley width, and add 6 feet to it, and you have 21 feet backup.
That's for perpendicular parking.
Yeah, that's if you were at 90 degrees against that alley.
Right, and she's at, I don't know what it is,
Some
75 degrees or something.
Yeah,
Some variant of a
Yeah.
normal 60, 30, 90.
yeah, and I'm familiar with this alley because I did the guest quarters right next to it.
Yeah.
So I just looked up the plans and yeah, I had 6 feet from the face of my building there where there's a garage door to the other side of the alley is 21 feet. And the garage on this property line is right up, pretty close to that edge.
Yeah, pretty close, but slightly angled again, like
But,
just like we all had discussed. Oh, good, you found them.
Yes. Thanks for your patience.
Don't worry about it.
If I can get this to share. Here we go. Okay. So we're looking at the carport here,
Can we enlarge those?
and this is. Can you see that?
Yeah, can you enlarge it? Can you put it on
Um,
the image?
I did. Huh.
No, it's showing your whole panel.
Yeah.
It's showing all your historical and all your other images.
Okay. Huh. Okay, well, let me do
We're
this.
testing you, Kat. We're testing you.
I know, I apologize.
It's so, and you get so nervous because.
It's not an inquisition.
I know, that's like those minutes, I'm like,
I told her that this group is very friendly, but we will ask pointed questions.
there we are.
Hey.
My own way, people. I'm getting in my own way. So here we go. This is the carport. This is the one-car garage that they don't use. And the alley here.
So you're actually 7 feet 6, you're 15, 21, 23, well, like maybe like that dimension string doesn't go down, but it's like more like 23 feet off the right corner of the garage and more like 7.5, 18 or 19 feet off the
It was about 20
left
feet
corner.
from what we have a survey.
Okay.
For this property, and it was
Yeah,
clear.
it just doesn't have dimension strings to those exact locations.
Exactly.
Again, it's not strictly conformant or non-conformant. It's just a little bit of an oddball. They obviously did this for the practicality of getting in and out when they built it, whenever that was.
Exactly. So that's that one, and I will show you. In
1952, according to her plan.
Oh, good year.
okay, so here we have, this is the front of the existing residence here.
And was that, not that it matters, but just for curiosity, was that a second floor add-on?
It
At some
was,
point in time, it looks like, yeah,
and then there's a roof deck.
got it, okay.
Just to give you an idea of the overall theme that they were kind of wanting to keep as far as the project is concerned.
Yeah, it's a very nice it's a very nice neighborhood up there.
Oh, definitely.
I have a question. So what is, it seems like a lot of people are doing this in Point Loma, what you're requesting, and it doesn't really, to me, from what I can see, impact or affect the front part of the house or the neighborhood at all. So what would be like the main issue or concern that would stop us from getting approved? Because I just don't see any issue really on my end.
Right. I think what, we're in the coastal zone, so we are required to secure a coastal development permit.
Right. So, but you're not doing anything that's exceeding or coming close to what I can see those limits.
Right, even the planning comments came back and it's conforming to view corridors, it's conforming.
And I'm reading all your notes here too on the plans. There's real specific, well-written notes on the special plan notes and the elevation notes. It's really pretty much written there pretty descriptively on what needs to be required. So I personally feel pretty confident in the project and in your ask.
Yeah, I think,
Anybody else? I mean, I guess I want to hear from the committee what their concerns are more, because I'm just not seeing any issue.
Margaret, I don't necessarily have an issue, but I forewarned Kat that the committee is concerned with principally height, floor area ratio, and parking or diminution of parking.
Right, which they
Yeah.
already don't have in that area.
They don't have in that area. She's technically losing a space, but it's not technically a space that anyone would use, because you have to crawl out the window of your car to use it.
Right, okay. Yeah, exactly.
And this is not unlike a project we recently reviewed, where Mark pointed out that the applicant hadn't dimensioned their garage, but when they did, it was substantially undersized, smaller than this one. But again, that
Totally.
wasn't the sticking point. The sticking point was their alley access. This is not unlike that, but it's slightly different. So
Right.
I don't personally have an objection to this project. I think it's going to be a nice little ADU.
I
But
think so too.
I wanted to be fair and not blindsiding Kat. And I also wanted to have the input of the board members and community members.
If I could make a
Thank you.
comment, I like the fact that she said their cars are currently on the street because they don't feel safe going into that. So if they're going to take a car off the street and put it in a garage, I prefer to see that as a resident, especially since cars are being broken into all the time in our neighborhoods now. So I commend them for taking the opposite of putting a car back in a garage.
Yes, I concur with that as well. The only question I have, and I have never investigated this in San Diego, but if you'd have a non-conforming use, which is the existing carport, you effectively remove it in total and then put a new garage in. Do you preserve your non-conforming use?
yes,
Hmm.
footprint.
What's the basis for that?
We aren't changing the envelope, and we're basically reusing everything. For the most part, we're not demolishing much in the sense of repurposing the space, calling it something other than parking. We are just enclosing it.
So in effect, is there a residence right next to that carport, or that is impacted at all by this change?
No, there's actually a garage south of it with an ADU above it.
It's a highly developed alley. It's tight. There's houses and ADUs and garages all along the alley, and they're all about 4 or 5 feet apart.
Mhm.
Mark
Well-
can attest, he did one apparently across the alley.
Well, I think it's a very nice ADU project, but I have a similar concern as Sam. I know the UBC defines carports and garages different, and garages have additional hazards other than carports. So I do have concern of approving the garage in the setback.
For non-habitable spaces, you are allowed to encroach in the setback in the city of San Diego in RS 1-7.
Yeah, but this is a garage, occupancy U, and I don't believe the UBC allows you to, or the zoning allows you to put a garage in the setback.
You said, Kat, that you have no existing first round plan check comments regarding a violation of setback.
No, not at all. And as far as non-habitable accessory structures in RS 1-7, in the rear yard and side yard, you are allowed a bit of encroachment, from what I recall. And since this is previously permitted, yes, under a carport, ultimately, this isn't changing the use necessarily, it's enclosing it, even though it will be permitted as an enclosed garage.
Well, Carla and Mark, a question for you, point of question. These new ordinances that we've been discussing for ADUs are allowing 0-foot setbacks.
For Joe, for the ADUs, but not for an existing previously conforming carport, right? I think the question all comes down to what Sam was getting at was, does an existing carport that is previously conforming to setbacks, right? If you change that to a garage, right, and enclose it, can you keep the same envelope?
Understood.
Understood.
And the answer from Kat is yes, the planning is allowing that to happen. Sam, I see your finger up.
Yeah. Well, I just want to toss out a hypothetical question is, can this be used to our disadvantage in the future by another applicant, which involves a potential imposition on a adjacent property?
It's a good hypothetical question. I don't know, you know, if someone wanted to research every non-conforming ADU carport garage conversion, maybe, but you know, that seems a little bit unlikely. But again, my initial response was to defer to the city who made an interpretation about the change in use. I would suspect that if that became problematic, CAC could simply say, fine, we're going to leave it as a carport, but we're not going to use it.
Well, here's another point I may add into that. If she was to change that existing carport into an ADU, she could leave it right there, right? Because the
correct.
ADU laws say you can put it in the setback.
Right,
Right.
right.
And I think it's going to come down. I think it's going to come down to, if you leave the existing roof and you leave the existing posts that support the carport and fill in the walls, right, you will be fine. But if you remove the roof and remove the existing poles that support that canopy and rebuild a wall and put a new roof on it, then you'd be in violation of the setbacks. Because you're building the structure.
It goes from a remodel to basically a demolition.
Yeah, and then you'd be in the coastal zone, so you need a coastal development permit just to do that.
Kat, is it roofed?
It is.
It is roofed. Yeah, I thought so. Because I said at the onset of this meeting, it looked like a garage, felt like a garage, but you said it's actually technically a carport because it was in, I didn't go creeping around the corner. I didn't want to get my head separated from my body.
It's not completely enclosed on one side, on the lot interior lot line side on the south, and so technically it just needs to be enclosed. So yeah, from what I've researched as far as other projects I've done, you know, non-habitable in residential RS 1-7, there's some leniency within setbacks for non-habitable up to a certain square footage as well. And so it could be that that's looked at in this case. So far with planning review and the other engineering, etc., I haven't gotten any comment back as far as it goes, but that's been my experience. Now, I'm not saying I know everything, that's not it, but that's been my experience.
Well, I think everyone sort of discussed the issues. You know, my opinion is that if this is to be enclosed as a garage and re-sided and completed, it's the result at the end of the day is going to be a much nicer aesthetic than we have now, and certainly no worse than what we have now, because it won't have changed anything. And I think if we were in a position where you were forced to do something to comply with the technical aspects of enclosing and or not re-roofing and or just building up walls as infill walls, that would be a doable option, but it would be less desirable.
Right.
Anyway, I've said enough. Does anyone else have any more comments? Javier, Sam?
Well, I like the project overall. I'm just concerned about precedent. So I'm leaning toward approving this, but I'm a little gun shy on something being used against us in the future.
Well, let me raise a philosophical question. Corla, Mark, you have been on, or Mark especially, you've done this for a long time. Have you ever had concerns, or have you ever run into a situation where there was a precedent, good or bad, set by this sort of development in the CDP?
Go ahead and answer that, Mark.
He's laughing at me. I mean, I just don't know that precedent is really a likely scenario. I don't see someone coming and saying, well, 1039 did this and a non-conforming carport.
I don't see it happening because I've been attending these meetings for a couple years now, off and on, and
Yeah,
it's really case by case scenario on the project.
right.
And as we're seeing, things are changing with development overnight. And I really, again, don't see a big issue with this ask, because again, it is towards the back of the home alley, and it's, really not tampering at all with the neighborhood, I guess. And that's what's I'm seeing most important with neighbors, with these kind of coastal permit asks. And it's, I've seen we've all seen lots of coastal permit, requests, but this one's pretty simple. Although I do agree with a lot you said, Sam.
Well, I'm glad
I'd
to.
like to-
see- Oops, sorry.
I'd like to make a motion
Okay.
to approve.
Okay.
Let's
Do I
see
have
how
a
you
second?
worded it correctly on your agenda. Coastal development permit for the existing single family residence to convert the garage into the 561 SF ADU.
Okay. Do I have a second? Sam, are you seconding or no? I saw your hand wave.
Well, I guess I will go ahead and second
Okay.
with reservation.
Well,
Hey, Joe, I'm going to abstain. I know it's uninhabitable, but to me, garage has unique hazards. So I
okay.
just let
Now,
it go
what
through the
grounds
plan.
Are you, again, I don't know all of the protocol, but is abstaining on the grounds that you're uncertain? I guess that's allowed.
Yeah, I just don't have enough information on the garage. So
All right, well, that's fine. So let's take a vote, please. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark, are you allowed to vote?
Yes. Yeah, he's a full member.
He's a full member on this committee.
Yes, and he's a
Not a
voting member.
PCPB member. Okay, so we have 5 in favor and 1, 2. 1,
One abstention.
2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a 4-1 approved, or 4-0-1.
Again, I'd like to add that I believe that if you keep the roof and keep the structure for the carport, you're allowed to rebuild that garage underneath that existing footprint that's previously conforming. according to the code. And I think that's the way the city's looking at
And that's what their plans look like, Mark. If you look at the plans, it looks like they're keeping some of that garage.
it. You have,
Look.
you have to, because if you tore it down all the way to the slab and wanted to rebuild it, you couldn't do it.
Yeah, interesting.
So Joe, for the record, it's 501.
Yeah, I just corrected
Five,
that.
yeah.
I'm just kind of looking at the screen, trying to figure out who I missed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Kat, good luck with the rest of your project. I do think it's going to be a cute little ADU, and I'm sure it'll rent in a New York minute.
Uh,
San Diego minute.
It was only mine, you know. Thanks for discussing the project with me and giving me your feedback. I really appreciate it.
We'll see you next week.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, now, again, 6 o'clock next week. It's also a Zoom. You need to register for that, much like you did for this. And again, I cannot tell you when we'll get to your item. It could be 6:30, it could be 7, it could be 7:30.
Just look at the agenda. It'll be posted on the website and get an idea. But
Okay.
we know you're coming.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. Thanks so
And your
much.
presentation can be more brief next week. Just go through the basics and I'll introduce the project and tell you how the group voted and why.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys. next week.
Have those photos ready because that garage angle was a big factor. So have that ready.
Now that I've gotten through my technical difficulties, I'll be more prepared.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Our next project is also by Rulin Design Group. It's at 4554 Cape May Street. It's project number 684823. It's also, of course, a coastal development permit. And this is to convert an existing residential unit into 2 accessory dwelling units. Also on a 0.16 acre site and also in the, this is actually in the RM 1.1 zone. This one has other somewhat unique issues to it. So with that, I think I see Audrey, you are the owner of Rulin Design Group.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Can you please talk us through your project?
You bet. Right, so your summary was spot on. The homeowners want some more space for their family. They want another dwelling for their family. And they do have an existing permitted 2-story house in the rear yard. We're proposing to split that into 2 dwellings. We want to do a small addition on the first floor of 158 square feet. But we're well under our FAR, the allowed being 7,242. And what we're using of the FAR with our proposed project is 5,432. We do have existing parking remaining for the front house, which is a nice long driveway for 1 or 2 or 3 cars. And then off the alley, there are 2 parking spaces being provided as well.
May I jump in with a quick question, Audrey?
Yeah,
The existing house does have a long skinny driveway, but no garage, correct?
correct.
And they use that driveway?
Yes,
And I don't see, and I saw the property, you call out that there's 2 spaces in the back, but you don't really have those dimensions. So we'll get to that. But anyway, I just wanted to interject that real quickly so that the group is aware that there's a driveway, but no garage.
okay, great.
No garages at all on site.
Right. Right. In terms of the design, the building materials are all existing. So we've got wood siding and stucco siding combination, and then existing wood railing at the deck. And then the small addition on the first floor is going to be wrapped with a similar siding as the lower part of the building that's to match that. So it kind of blends in with the horizontal siding that's already there. Our height at the highest point, again, is existing. It's 25 feet 2 inches. And all this work is going to be inside the existing permitted residence, except for the addition on the first floor. And we've gone through our coastal review, and planning has no issues with our project. We didn't get any feedback, any red flags or anything from them.
Are you prepared to share your screen and go through your drawings or?
Sure. Kat did it so fast that now I feel
Well,
kind of stressed
don't-
out. I can't.
Don't, just breathe. It's okay. You
Okay.
can do it.
Oh, share screen. Look at that. Green button.
Woohoo.
Wow. And I'm gonna share the site plan up. Are you all able to see that?
Not
No, you're
yet.
not.
Oh, boy. Okay, I clicked on it. Oh, share. One more button. That's looking good. Okay.
There we go.
There you are.
Let me zoom in on that for you. So this is the Cape May Avenue here. This is the existing residence and their driveway here.
And I mean, Audrey, how did that
Yeah.
driveway work originally? Did it go to somewhere?
No, because you see how the house pops out and it gets real skinny here? It's very skinny back here.
Was it literally just built as a driveway?
Yes. As far as I know.
And about what year was this house built?
I'll have to pull it. Let me see. That's on a different page. Year built. 1950.
1956.
Oh, wow, you can see that. That's great. Okay. All right. Is this good enough size for everyone to see?
Yeah, it's just fine. You're doing just fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
So can you give the square footage on those existing structures, please?
Sure. Let me go back to the first page.
Sorry. I thought they'd be on this. I wasn't paying attention.
It's, I can't really get to my up arrow. There we go. All right, existing residence, 3,311. Let's see, the addition's 158. And then the actual, yeah, so that gives us a grand, I have my grand total, but I don't have the, because we don't have the existing house on here.
Yeah, you do. You're talking about the existing ADU?
In the back, yeah. Existing residents, unless this is a total, I'd have to look at the building records to see. It's, this has been in coastal review for about 16 or 17 months now. They finally spit it back out to us. So I haven't looked at that recently. I was focusing more on FAR and things like that, but yeah.
Well, are you confident that your total habitable is the 4659 and that your total allowable is 54 something?
Total proposed 5432, yes. Yes, this has all gone through planning and this is their set that they've been looking at.
I'm sorry, total habitable is 54 and max allowable is 54. So you're,
No, FAR is 50, FAR proposed is 5432,
and FAR allowed is,
7242.
okay, quite a bit. You're quite a bit under.
Yes, right, yeah. And again, you know, both structures were permitted. We're adding 158 square feet, so a very, very tiny addition to the already permitted structures. Should we go
Okay.
back to this site plan?
Yes, please.
Okay. There we go. All right. So this is the area of the existing dwelling, and then this lightly gray area would be the addition to that. The parking spaces, they do not have dimension lines, but they do say 8 by 18.
Right.
Very small font there.
I see it.
Okay.
And again, what is the existing for the group? What is the existing two-story structure used as?
It's a residence.
I'm sorry,
It's a residence.
two-story.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
can you please jump to your floor plans?
Yeah. So what we did here was we had the internal stairs, first floor and second floor with the internal stairs. And then we just basically opened up the stairs from the ground to go to have a private stairwell, so that the stairs ended up, I'll show you on the proposed floor plan, the stairs ended up just going for the second floor.
So when you go in the entry door by your cursor,
Mhm.
you go through that door and you either go through a door into the dining room of the downstairs unit, or
Yeah,
you go through the other door into a tight staircase up to the second unit.
correct. Yes, the existing staircase, yeah.
Okay,
And then we added a family room here on this side.
okay. And then can you take us upstairs? Oh, it's over on the left screen. I see it.
Yep, yes.
Do you have laundry up there, Audrey?
Yep, laundry room on the second floor.
Yeah.
Here.
that's laundry.
Wait, that's the first.
Oh,
Right,
that,
first floor.
I,
That's blocked, yes. Second floor, no laundry,
okay.
just the kitchen. Kitchen and bath, one bedroom. You want to, should I blow it up for you?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And the intended use on both of these would be rentals, or what type of rentals?
They said they wanted to use it for their family, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
and, okay, never mind. We'll get to the elevations in a minute.
Should we scoot over to elevations then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So this is that door that you enter here.
Mhm.
Again, all of this is existing, the deck is existing, the height is existing.
Is it
So-
22 foot 10 inches? Is that what I'm reading?
Yes,
Thank you.
And what is it on the high side?
it's 25.2,
Okay,
right here, yeah. That would be right here. And then this is the addition that pops out, and again, we wanted to blend it in with the siding there, so we use the same materials for that side.
so they did the same thing that Cat's project did, where you took horizontal siding to a corner and then you don't show a vertical transition board, but then you wrap the corner and it becomes a stucco.
Yes,
Okay, you might want to put a vertical stop there to wrap that
Okay.
corner.
sure.
So, Coralie, I was studying the plans for a minute. So there is a first floor laundry room that is communal from the outside. Is that the intent?
It has an inside door and an outside door, so yes, it could be
So
used for either.
if you're renting the second floor ADU, there's a path around the side to get to
Yep.
that little laundry room and a
Yes.
locking door, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm sure the inside one would be dead bolted, but
Is the long deck on the second floor or first floor? Can't tell here on my screen.
it's on the second floor.
Margaret.
Second floor? Okay. Do we know how many family members they expect to go into these units?
How many what?
Family members?
I don't know. They have grandkids and they have, family that comes from out of town. I mean, they can rent them. It's not, there's no reason they couldn't rent them, or if they want to rent them in the future, but
And I have one question here in regards to the year it was built. It was built in 1936. correct?
56.
From-
56.
Is it? Okay, so
Oh, it does say 36,
it
Margaret.
does say 36. So that to me is pretty, it's an older unit, building, home. Yeah, because I was 1936. I mean, I guess my question is are they going to remodel the entire home, the front of it, and to match the new developments that are going into the back?
They're not proposing any work for the front home.
Oh.
And the rear home, all of the envelope is existing except for that small pop out for the addition on the first floor.
Audrey, are you sure that it looks to me like it's entirely plausible that the front house was built in the 30s, but it doesn't look like the rear house was built in the
Right,
30s.
that's what I was looking at, Joe. Me too.
Yeah,
From good-
It looks more like 1985 to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that was just I have to look at my building records to see. Yeah.
Did they make you go through historical on the rear structure?
We went through historical for sure.
Okay. Yeah, it just, they didn't build second houses that frequently. And I
Yeah.
at one time owned one of the oldest houses in the point, and it was built, I think, in the late 20s. So,
Uh-huh.
Right.
okay, well, in essence, you're not doing a whole lot. You're adding a bedroom or a family room, I guess, and
Yeah.
you're changing the circulation patterns a little bit.
Right.
You're not greatly increasing square footage. You're not changing the visible exterior at all. You're not changing the parking situation at all. When I was there, there was a guy unloading a surfboard out of a truck, and they were using the rear parking spaces.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do you want to show us real quickly some pictures and then we'll move on?
Okay, let's see here.
If you have them,
Let me see what I've got here. I need to. I have to kind of sift through them. There's one at the front house, but I think.
well, you can show us one of the front house because that is contextually very different than the rear house. That's
Mhm.
why that's why Margaret and I were asking that question.
Okay, so let's see if I share. There we go. The screen. So this is the back house.
Okay.
This helps because I can't see this online.
Okay.
So it looks totally different than the front.
It
Yes.
does, Margaret. It's
Right?
totally different.
Joe, I was trying to look online, but I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
And actually, that photo is good because it demonstrates the horizontal siding on the right-hand side of the elevation with the two windows in it and the stucco finish on the
Gotcha.
alley
Yeah.
facing elevation.
Yeah.
And
And
this
it
is
also shows the two existing
parking.
parking spaces.
Right.
Yes. I think that'll help our board too, if this can kind of be,
Yeah, this
But it
photo is
already-
good.
yeah, this one's great because it really distinguishes that it's kind of its own little property already.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. And again, this is not in an R17 zone. This is an RM11 zone, a different zone.
Oh.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because from the front side, you really don't get a good look. You can't see that this double unit's there.
No, I didn't know until I drove down it. It's one of those things. You see a lot that you never saw before when you're on this project review committee. you're looking at things differently and you're looking for things differently.
Right.
And Audrey, are you able at all to find the front, or could you pull up a quick Google map just to show us the context? And then
Sure.
we can move this along.
Because when I looked up the front, that's what triggered me to say, how old is this home? And that's when I looked on the plans and did see that it does look like it's an older built home.
Excuse me.
It definitely stands out in that neighborhood.
There you go. So this is the front house.
Yeah, totally different time and context. I mean, again, it's a very well-kept house. It's very cute.
Looks like a beach cottage.
It really does.
Right, it does. It's cute. Yeah, I
Really
like
does.
Five blocks from the beach. It's a beach cottage. It looks great.
Yeah. But again, the gist of this to me is that she's not proposing a 2-story ADU in the back. She's proposing converting what's already there and making a small addition that will not be visible from anywhere, alley or street.
Yes, that's the important key factor, Joe.
Okay, well, other project review members, do any of you have any questions or comments? Sam, Mark, Javier, anyone?
I don't.
Joe, I have a couple questions.
Go for it, Mark.
So let's get out of the screenshot here. Go back to there we go. Hey, Audrey.
Hey,
I've got a couple questions for you. The way I see it is that, well, first of all, I think you answered this. The existing use of that back 2-story structure was an ADU, or not an ADU, it was a dwelling unit.
correct.
So there was a front house, one dwelling unit, and a second house, which was a dwelling unit. Because it's an RM1-1, we're allowed 2 dwelling units, right?
Yes,
So that's why it was permitted. Okay. So what you're proposing is to take one of those dwelling units and make it 2 ADUs.
correct.
That's where I have a problem. I can't figure out how you can do that.
Because it's RM11. That's why.
Yes, exactly. It's a multifamily zone, which for everybody, in ADUs in multifamily zones is different than ADUs in single family residential zones. And when I look at, Audrey, when I look at ID 400, which I have open right now, and I've read it 5 times in your presentation, I still can't find out how you can build more than 1 ADU on a multifamily RM1-1 zone when you're converting habitable space that exists into 2, right? I can't see how you can do that. So you're going to have to show me where in the IB 400 that in a multifamily zone, you can convert existing habitable space, right, into 2 ADUs.
Well, it's a relatively new development to be able to do this. And I think, I think we can rest assured on the fact that the city has no issues with it. I mean, it's been through coastal. Again, they've been staring at it for almost 1.5 years now. And we've never had a single comment about that. So, you know, if you want me to dig into code, I'm going to need a little bit more time. But I think that's, you know, the city doesn't have an issue with it. We've been doing this on other projects as well. So in the city of San Diego.
Well, then Audrey, you'd clearly know how you can do that in the IB, 400, because I'm reading it. It says conversion or interior alterations to existing structures, right? It says the maximum number of ADUs permitted within a habitable area of an existing multi-dwelling structure is 25% of the total number of existing dwelling units. So you have 2 existing dwelling units, you can only do 25% more or 1 ADU. And you're proposing 2. Can't see it.
Okay.
Would it be a semantics thing, kind of, Mark, like she could add a junior ADU up there or some kind of different thing instead of
And
splitting?
a junior and a multifamily.
They're not allowed, yes.
It's not allowed there.
Yeah, they're completely different. So, I need that. I looked at it and I couldn't find it. How you can get 2 units out of an existing habitable space in a multifamily zone.
Thank you, Mark, for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah, Mark, if you could send, at least to me, I'd like to get that quote of that
Sam,
section.
it's the bylaw, the ID 400. It's the information bulletin.
Okay,
What section are you in IB 400? I'm reading it. It's a pretty long bulletin.
It's under 2. I can open, it's page 2.
All right.
Yeah.
ADUs allowed, single family zone.
Do you
So
want to
you're
share
under
that?
item 2, multiple dwelling unit zones.
Yep. Can you see it?
Right, I'm reading it. The maximum.
looks like,
ADU. Multifamily zone is a zone.
What about item C, 2C?
That's detached. I've run into this
that's
before. That's
different, yeah.
Well,
detached.
it is a detached structure.
Yeah, and it says the 2 ADUs may be within one structure or 2 separate structures.
That's construction of new detached structure. This is an existing detached structure.
Yeah, I don't think that applies. That C doesn't apply.
Yeah,
In
A
my
is
view.
conversion of the existing. And the floor area, adding floor area, you've got it highlighted there too.
Now you can actually go, because you're in a TPA, you can actually go through the bonus density program and assign one of these at low income and get the extra bonus because you're in a transit priority area. But still, I can't see where you can get 2 ADUs out of it.
Mark, I concur with your position after reading this.
Same.
This is
So
a-
are you, Mark, saying you could tear this down and build it back exactly as it is under subsection 2C?
That's what I was thinking. I thought it's kind of,
Oh,
it's a little,
I mean, you're really good at delving into the code subsections, but is that the intent of this? Or spoken another way, Audrey, is this something that you could clarify?
So I'm looking here, section 2A, it's a existing multiple dwelling unit structure, which it is not. That may be the reason why they allowed it. Mentions the 25% rule, but this is not a multiple dwelling unit structure.
Okay, what is this? I'm
Dwelling
looking,
site.
find a solution here, so I mean, I don't ask that with a negative tone. I'm just asking what is it if it's not a existing multi-dwelling development?
Well, there's not multiple dwellings within the structure already.
but it's on the property, isn't it?
It's a
That's-
multiple dwelling zone. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through our notes and, like I said, we've been working on this for a long time, and so I'll have to go through the notes to be able to provide an articulate answer, other than the fact that the city has approved it. So, you know, if you want more information than that, I'm gonna need more time to explain why the city approved it, I guess.
Well, Audrey, we try to, our goal is to make sure that projects conform and also
Sure.
with you. I know you've been a long time in planning, a year and a half. I'm sorry to hear that. But I
Yeah.
think if we continue this until next month and you specifically get a clarification from the city, because as Corla stated about an hour ago, the rules seem to be changing on a weekly basis. And maybe there's some clarification, or if you could issue from the city, from a supervisor, an email that simply says, our interpretation of the, whatever this is, the RM 1-1 zone rules for multiple dwellings with a conversion of ADUs, an existing second structure to 2 ADUs is allowed. Absolutely fine. And
Well,
if
this is
not,
the first time we see anything like this, to make one building into
into
two.
two.
We haven't seen this before either. so.
Well, as Sam pointed out, there's a nuance to many of these projects we've seen, because it's very hard to put into words the intent of every circumstance that can arise.
Of course, I mean, there's so many gray areas with this new law that, you know, that's why I keep saying the city has approved this, because there are a lot of gray areas. You know, we've heard the city say no on some things and then give us a permit. We've heard them say, well, we never not gotten a permit, but we've heard them say no at first and then give us a permit. So, you know, I hope I can provide us that information you're asking for from the city. All I can tell you is that we're in front of the committee because they said yes. We
I
would not be
understand that.
here if they did not say, yes, your project is perfectly fine.
Like,
So,
absolutely understand what you're saying, Audrey.
you know,
But I need to pass this through our project review committee, and we have to make a presentation to the full board. And if we have a split decision or a no decision, I think that's detrimental to your long-term interests. You're already in it for 18 months. So if you could please contact your planner and have them get you some sort of an email confirmation of their interpretation of the IM11 zone with this nuanced issue. As I read Mark's interpretation, I think it's technically correct, but as I also pointed out, seems to me that you could tear it down and build it exactly
Yeah.
counterintuitive.
Yeah, that's not what we want, is tearing down livable structures. I propose that we give the applicant an extension to our next meeting to come back with this information.
I think that's fine.
That's a motion.
Okay, do I have a second?
Margaret,
Margaret, you spoke as Javier raised his hand simultaneously.
oh, sorry, Javier could have it.
No, it's all right. So,
I can't see. I'm multitasking right now.
yeah,
Can I have a vote, please, on this? 1, 2, 3, 4. I hate it when the screen reshuffles in the middle of a count. 1, 2,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 6-0.
okay, great. I'll get you on the agenda next month, Audrey.
okay.
And we're silent in August. The agenda is already packed for next month, but I'll put you first and we'll hopefully go through this. Hopefully you can get a determination that quickly. I have had a heck of a time getting anything quickly from the city,
Yeah,
even like an email or a return phone call. So.
yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your presentation. And, you know, as usual, this was spirited and interesting to me.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other items to discuss? Other than that, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 4:29. I mean, not to order, to close at 4:29.